Hello, eRank. Welcome to another live Q&A with me, Pam Duffy, and her, Starla Moore. We have the dream team back.
Yes, it's been forever. It really has. I had a webinar with Go Imagine last week, and what was the week before that? I can't remember.
It was the Canva thing.
The Canva Create event.
Which I haven't watched left yet. Was it any good? Oh dear.
About as good as they usually are. There were some cool features. There was a lot of singing and dancing though. It was
Is that what we're doing, Rock? Should we be singing and dancing?
It was very High School Musical. They had a rap and
a rap.
Oh, no. Choreographed dance. It was something. It felt like. When you were in school, did you ever have somebody come to your school and sing and dance about like, don't do drugs, kids? Yeah. And then as an adult, you're just like, no wonder all these kids ended up doing drugs. They didn't want to be like these singing, dancing people.
That sounds like the singing, dancing people needed that. I'm afraid that in our schools, they were a lot darker. They were just like, you're going to die. You're all going to die.
Here's a picture of a diseased lung.
Yeah, literally, our TV announcements back in the 80s, I had nightmares about some of the things. They were so dark. I would have liked singing and dancing, but that might have encouraged me to take drugs better.
That's funny. They are rolling something out that I really liked, which was, I guess they're going to be creating some type of, it's like a course type thing that you can build a course, but it's for like training teams. And there's lots of like, it almost looked like there were like progress bars and things, and it looked really cool. But I was thinking for sellers who do, for example, like skincare, what if you made like a little skincare like quiz, like, or, maybe you sell patterns. Maybe you could do like some type of little knitting quiz, or I don't know. There were a lot of different ways that I could see that little, course thing being fun for like your social media link trees and things. You could stick it in there and have people take a little quiz to do with your niche. Obviously, it's not going to work for all niches, but for some, it could be really fun.
That sounds cool. Oh, we've got to get Anna's question. By the way, you can ask us questions about Etsy and eRank if you want as well, and we will get around to that. But what would you do if Anthony asked you to rap and dance? He would have to do it first. He's our leader.
Yeah. Clearly, I would definitely rap and dance, but my request would be that he has to come up with like all the dance moves, and he has to send us like the tutorials of himself dancing, maybe with his cat and his birds. He's got cats and birds, so he would need to incorporate them in, obviously, because why wouldn't you want to see that? And I would want to learn something about SEO and the whole thing. So I'm thinking like Village People, YMCA, but like
yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Gillian, indeed. What did guys, this is what happens if you don't ask us questions in advance and you just leave us to chat about our own thing. It's your fault.
It's all your fault. We haven't seen each other in like 2 weeks, so you get to deal with this if you don't get some making questions. In the world of Etsy, there have been, let's see, was not the investors report, what was that event called? That
that was the Burniston. I can't remember. I might have written it down. It was a Burniston something or other.
Bernstein.
I made notes. Bernstein. I wrote it down. The Bernstein 40th Annual Strategic Something Conference. Can't read around. Could be that, yes.
Yeah, that came out. And I just saw another thing where I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but Josh apparently did another video about AI and how Etsy will be using AI. So I got to watch that this weekend as well.
Same. That's on my list. I just saw that before I was getting ready for this. So, and he also, as well as the Bernstein one, there was a JP Morgan one, which is very similar, but not quite. So I'm comparing the two.
Oh, this is too much. Too many things to watch. I'm a very busy person, Josh Silverman. Why are you giving us so many things?
I know. Well, I'll be your secretary on this. I'll see if I can figure out anything to do with it and let you know.
Yes, I will be very busy over the next 2-ish weeks getting ready for Handmade Alpha Academy. But until then, guys, give us some awesome questions. It looks like Harriet's imagination had said, I just wanted to ask about alt text. Should it be applied to all of your images or the thumbnail? Apply it to all of them. Those are accessibility features that are designed to help your visually impaired customers. If you have multiple images, and the only variant between them is that the product is sitting upright and the second photo is maybe the product laying down, then change the alt text to say that the product is laying down in the second photo. You want to describe the photo exactly as it is. What is in that image? It's not an SEO thing. It's a helping your visually impaired customers thing.
Exactly. It's not a keyword stuffing or anything. I will say, if you have a load of listings, I would add it to all your photos on like your best sellers and your new listings, and then maybe put it to your first image. If it's just, I've seen some shops with thousands and thousands of listings. Okay, that's too much work. So
Right.
just put it put it to the ones you can. But if you can, absolutely aim for all of them.
Yeah. Start with order of importance. Thumbnails or bestsellers, thumbnails, and then if you've got a day when you're out of stuff to do, okay, well, that's stuff to do. And did you see Etsy, at least for some devices, it's not doing it on my Android, but the Etsy buyer app, now when you don't have a listing video, it'll give you the option. It'll say like that the seller didn't have a video, and it gives you the option to request a video.
Yes,
So
I've
that's
not seen it yet, but I've not seen it personally, but I've seen people talking about it.
yeah.
Um, Also, some people are showing they're including an AI roundup of the reviews on a item, which is kind of cool. So it's saying at the top, it's saying something like people are loving this, this, and this about it, but they think
Oh,
this could be improved. It's very cool. I haven't seen it personally, but I've seen posts about it as
like
well.
a AI generative thing that's looking at all
Yeah,
their reviews.
it's like a kind of roundup of it.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm remembering everything now that you've started me. But yeah, guys, um, the Etsy app, the seller app, it's
The blue
been
one.
asking you to update it. But people are saying they try and update it and it's not working. You have to remove the old orange Sell on Etsy app for the new one not to fail when you try and update it. Because I was
Oh.
stuck in a loop for like 20 minutes yesterday, and you're telling me update and you won't update.
Now I'm like, did I ever get rid? Yeah, I did. I was like, did I even get rid of the old app, or did I just leave it on there? Um, Michelle had asked, just starting, how do you narrow in on an item to recreate? So I think I need a little bit more context here. Are you, maybe you're a new seller, and do you have like one of a kind items and something's sold out and you're trying to figure out like what to make more of? I'm a big fan of make more of whatever's selling if people are interested in it.
Absolutely. Yeah. More context. Is it an item? Are you talking about items in your shop if you haven't had sales, or if absolutely if you've sold something, recreate it, or are you talking about like other people's stuff? Um, yeah, more context. But But yeah, that's how you get a bestseller, is if something sells out and you remake it.
Mhm.
Excuse me.
That'll help your listing quality scores. It'll help that listing to rank higher in search, especially if people are leaving good reviews. Those are the types of listings that Etsy wants to show to more people. So if you've got people who are interested in that item, I mean, definitely remake it. Oh, she said, no, I would like to know how do you like, let's, okay, just finding an item in eRank and narrowing down a product to make. I don't have listings yet. Well, don't don't let eRank be the horse that pulls the cart. Michelle, what's more important starting out is what do you like to make? That should always be your driving force, because if you're just making what we say is popular, you're not going to have a lot of passion for that. I always use the example from Mabel the Woodle, Nicole. She's one of my students. She started out selling Bunko shirts. Do you guys play Bunko there? I've never played Bunko.
Don't think so.
Bunko. She sold Bunko shirts. She told me, she was like, I don't even like Bunko. And she rebranded herself, and now she sells things themed around dogs, which she loves. So, her product was shirts, but she started out selling Bunko shirts because Bunko was trendy. And then she was just like, I don't even like Bunko. And now she sells dog related products. So I definitely would recommend starting with whatever you like to do and what you're passionate about, and then trying to find ways to incorporate in trends that fit with what you're interested in. So if you're a painter, for example, and you love to paint, then you see that coffee is trending. Oh, well, maybe you could. I've seen people who paint with like coffee, you know what I mean? And they do these cool art prints, but they actually use like the coffee to do the different shades and things, and they find a way to make it work. She said, I like tumblers, cups, and you don't, nobody likes tumblers and cups. We think that's not a
That's
passion.
not a niche. It's a thing you put things on. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Think
do you
about,
love? What do you want to put on these things? What do you love? What groups do you spend all your days in? Who are you talking to? Like a niche like that would be: are you in groups for crafty grandmas, dog lovers, Dungeons and Dragons? What's your thing?
yeah. And then put those things on tumblers and on cups and on towels. You got to think about who your niche is going to be, who your target customer is going to be. We're really not seeing a lot of successful shops pop up that are selling a little bit of everything to everyone. It's just not happening anymore. That might have worked a couple years ago, especially when POD and things like that were new and fresh, and but now everybody has a POD store, assuming that that's what you're doing. But I would definitely try to narrow down on something exciting and fun that you like, because if you like it, then you'll be more inspired to create cool items. And think, if it's something that you're knowledgeable about, then you can make like inside jokes about it. It's almost like, do you ever look at career-based meme pages? Like my mom, she always shares things from nursing pages because she's a nurse. So she'll share all these memes. And I don't understand any of it because I'm not a nurse and I don't know the inside jokes. But I see lots of nurses reacting because they get the inside jokes because they're nurses. I would fail miserably if I was trying to sell to nurses because I don't know those inside jokes. But see what I mean? There's a lot of ways to make things fun.
Exactly. If you are your niche, you've got such a head start. I will say, over the past week at eRank, we've been doing a kind of deep dive into the keyword tool. I did a webinar. Jess has done a video on this channel. In the eRank mail outs, we've been all sorts of things. So it's definitely worth checking those kind of things out, because we show how to use the keyword tool to sort of dive in. Basically, start broad with the niche, but then dig in and find out what kind of things people are looking for. But you have to be within your niche. I mean, I see you're talking about aquaponic systems. If that's something, if you hang around in groups about that and you know the in jokes, and I'm sure that is even by itself, a big enough niche? I know practically nothing about it, but I'm sure there's in jokes. I'm sure there's certain
Well,
gadgets and things that
I
make
see one
pictures.
already.
Mm?
Sylvia um, said, I'm a plant mama, so I make phone case inspired by flowers and plants. Plant mamas are an entire niche in their own. There's an entire, generation of or a whole group of millennials who aren't having children. They're just having lots of plants. So plant parents, that could be a whole thing. And in Arizona, I'm assuming that taking care of there's a lot of challenges that come with um, successfully growing plants and the types of plants because it's so hot, because it's mostly desert. So there's probably a lot of fun, unique challenges that you could advertise for plant parents, in hot climates. There's so much there. There's so many fun things you could do.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about having a niche that you really know about. Once you start thinking about things, there's just tons of ideas that start to run off your mind, rather than if we just open up a shop and say, "Oh, I want to sell on Etsy. I think I'll print on tumblers." That's not a niche. Now, this is not picking on you, Michelle. Like everybody does it. So many people come to this. But if you find that niche that you're passionate about, find something that you can sit and talk about for an hour to people, then you've got a thing that you'll be able to make products for, to be able to sell to people.
So millennials, no children, lots of plants. Let's see. Linda said, I saw someone put a disclaimer in their shop about their jewelry items being com- compromised. I'm assuming that you don't mean compromised, composed of small
Right.
beads that could be a choking hazard for small children. What do you guys think about that? I think if your jewelry looks like it is strictly for adults, if it's like bubblegum pink with cute fairies, I used to make jewelry that could have definitely been enjoyed by younger audiences, and I always put it in my listings. Um, just as a FYI, or I had it in a printout that came with my listings, with my care instructions. It said not intended for, small children, choking hazard, yada, yada. Linda, it can't hurt, really. I mean, most parents are going to know that they shouldn't be giving something like that to a child, but it never hurts. It's not going to be enough to like protect you if you're wanting to use it as like a form of legal protection, but I doubt that it's probably not something you're ever going to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. I mean, if you were making items for children and said not for children, that doesn't protect you if you've clearly made things. But yeah, I put that on. I used to put that on my felt things because people would buy them as a toy. They'd go, "Oh, is this all right for my kids?" Like, no, I'm not spending 4 days making something for your 2-year old to chew on. No.
That's true. Let's see. Whippet Chick. I'm a member of HAA and have a subscription to eRank, and I still have paralysis by analysis when it comes to finding a popular niche that isn't too broad or too narrow or not evergreen, etc. Okay, so first of all, when I saw your name, I'm really glad that you have a photo of a dog there, because whippets are also a drug. And I was like, wait a minute.
I
Like,
did not know that we're back. Starla, have you got something to tell us?
no, we're in the festival scene, so we see crazy things. But okay, that I'm assuming that you have a whippet. I'm thinking, if you haven't made that decision, there are so many breeds, even if for example, if you wanted to do like a whippet brand, you could expand out to greyhounds, Italian greyhounds, any of the fun limber breeds, the little horse dogs are what I call them, because they all have that pretty athletic build. But there's so many things, and you got to think that when it comes to pets, those are evergreen because people are always going to love them. They're always going to be obsessed. And there's that possibility of, going trendy. So for example, if you can see my fur potato back there, Yummy,
Yeah,
I've got a
I'll
Shiba
let her
Inu.
sleep. Yeah.
Shiba Inus are very popular right now because of all the memes and stuff, and Doge just passing away. So, if I were opening a shop, I would capitalize on the fact that my dog is trendy. I think that there's a lot of fun things that you could do, especially if you're really passionate about your dogs.
Absolutely. I mean, any dogs is huge, but niching down on a few kind of similar breeds, like you said, Mabel the Wootle, is a lot of doodles and things she's aiming for. Great shop. I know people who are passionate about whippets, greyhounds, all that kind of thing. Definitely, definitely, you could get spotted as a horse dog person, as a whippet
The
greyhound
athletics.
type. Athletic, yeah.
Yeah.
Athletic, yeah. I've been I used to teach dog agility. I've been stood in a field where a giant greyhound had the zoomies running at you. You don't think athletic. You think, just please don't hit me. The ground's shaking.
Galloping. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of fun you could have with that. Wait, who's Doge? I said Doge to the Shiba Inu with the side eye that was, she passed away. She was very old though and very loved, but she did
Oh,
pass
I
away.
didn't know that. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she I think is the reason that Shiba Inus have become so popular.
And for anyone struggling with getting started with niches that you sort of have an idea, like Whippet Chick or something, this is look. If Etsy's using AI, we might as well go and speak to the AI and see if they come up with any ideas. It just takes you 5 minutes to say, "I'm thinking of selling on Etsy. Here are my loves. Give me some ideas." And
Yeah,
if it comes up with nothing, you've wasted 2 minutes.
that's great because the new Chat GPT, have you played with it yet?
Yeah, yes, a
Of
4-0. Yeah, because I said to you 2 weeks ago, and you were looking at me like, "You've gone mental." I'm like, "No, but it's really good." And I couldn't remember what it was called. But yes, I got, one of the early access, and I was like, "This is actually not rubbish."
Yeah, it was so cool. I asked it, well, Mark asked it a bunch of questions about YouTuber Starla Moore because I wanted to see if it said nice things about me, and it did. I was very happy. But then,
Yeah.
what I'm known for and stuff, it did a pretty good job. So if you were to say, like, hey, Chat GPT, I'm interested in all these things, I dabble in this, I have a degree in this, or, I used to do this back in high school. I want to start a business based on one of these things. What do you got? It should give you some pretty cool ideas.
It's much more clever now. I had to write out some kind of business proposals, some fancy business things, and it did it so good. Like before, when you were like, "Oh, is it going to say unique and upgrade your thingies?" You can always see what it was AI, but it's
Right.
definitely it's talking a lot better now. But
And
at the
if you
same
don't like the tone, you can ask it to adjust the tone. If you're like, okay, make this more casual, it'll do it.
absolutely. Oh, I've not seen it for ages. Some, people made up their own chat GPTs for a while. It was a thing. And there was one, it was called GPT, which is Glaswegians are called Ouijas. So it was a little Glaswegian chat GPT that basically insulted you and told you Edinburgh was rubbish and stuff. It was hilarious. I'll
I
have to
thought
see
that,
if that's anything.
sorry about the dogs barking or dog sitting. I thought that it was going to be like Ouija board, like, I was thinking
I
like
bet that exists too.
the Chat GPT ghosts. All right. OM88MO1 said, is it a good idea to sell services on Etsy? I'm an interior designer and thinking about selling e-design live services. Etsy actually has it in their policies that you cannot sell services on the platform. You can sell things like a digital download, or maybe if you were doing like digital blueprints where you were sending them like a PDF, you couldn't call it, like, you couldn't say that it's a service though. What they're buying is the actual like digital product. So you couldn't, it's not the service so much as what you're actually physically providing or digitally providing to the customer.
Yeah. So I suppose you would be selling the design, a custom design kind of thing. But I think there could very much be a place for that, just so long as you sit and absolutely read every word of the policies on what you can sell. But I think that could be cool.
Yeah, the services, it's kind of weird where they're like, you cannot sell services on, I just read this policy like yesterday, but you can't sell services on Etsy. But like, for example, if you do like psychic readings, well, that's a service. But if you provide the PDF of it, then that's fine. So it's, you'd have to find a way to make the actual product that they're being provided with the marketable aspect.
Yeah, they have to have something at the end of it. I think that came up, it was because years ago people were like buying spells where you would purchase something, it'd be like, "Oh yes, I've made this happen for you." And then
Yeah,
people go, "Yeah, you've kind of conned me there, haven't you?" So
right.
you had to
You'll
do a
lose.
printout or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Michelle said, I fell into my niche by accident when customers asked for my ornaments in their language. I currently have 17 languages I create, by far my biggest seller. That's awesome. So you identified a gap in the marketplace.
Yeah, and that totally can happen. If you have to get started, you have an idea of sort of what you're making, but then what people buy from you gives you an idea. Like my cat bookmarks were my number one for ages. I dreamt up an idea to make a dog bookmark, and I did that and it was okay, but people messaged me and said, "Hey, can you make that as a cat?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, fine." Did that. Yeah, that sold great. So yeah, listen to your customers once you've got started for sure.
Yeah. They'll be the ones to tell you what you're going to make the most money on.
Yeah, and if you don't have customers yet, snoop your competition and see what their customers are saying. It's like, "Oh, I love this, but I wish it was a bit more eco-friendly. I love this. I wish it was bigger." Go, I can do that.
Yeah, your customers' bad reviews are the best way to figure out how you can outdo them.
Yep.
Let's see. Pascal, is there a video from you that explains how to set up your shop over a period of time, when to look at the listings that are good, etc.? I mean, setting up your shop, no, because it's Etsy really, they really kind of guide you through that process now. So we really don't, I mean, it's like on autopilot. But in terms of when to look at listings, I assume you mean like when to know when you're like SEO needs an update, um, or your keywords. I'm a big fan of just keeping an eye on your stats and anything that's not getting views, favorites, sales. If you check it within our rank checker tool and you notice that it's ranking like way down on search pages and it's not getting any buyer attention, that's usually a signal that you need to update those. Pam, do we have any videos that, I'm sure we do. I
Um,
just,
yeah, nothing sort of over a period of time. I probably should think I've always steered away from being too prescriptive with things. However, we probably should, just because I know so many people that do it way too often. This is the thing. You've got to let things run for long enough to get enough data. Unfortunately, things are a lot slower on Etsy for most people than you expect them to be. So you list something and go, "It's been up for 24 hours and I haven't made any sales." Slow down, come back in like 4 months or something. It's definitely that much slower than you expect. So maybe we should do a little something. But I would say it's probably a lot less than you think. Like there's no win to constantly tweaking things every day. I I like numbers, so I check my stats most days. I don't do anything with it. I wouldn't advise you probably should do that. Check them once a week, really. Um, Look at your listings. You set aside once a month to do a quick look at all your listings and things like that. Once a month at a different time to maybe do some keyword research. If you're not got loads of sales, it breaks my heart when I see people are posting and going, "I'm working 20 hours a day and I have been for 6 months and I haven't made any sales." You're working 20 hours a day on what? It's like, Starla, how often in the years you've been on Etsy have you been working 20 hours a day in your shop?
Just Black Friday packing orders was the only time, and it was like 16-hour days. But
Yeah.
and that's like one day out of the whole year.
Yep. Same. Run up to Christmas, November, December, maybe about 4 or 5 weeks I was working solid days. I wasn't doing any keyword research. I was making and shipping and things. But when I've not got sales happening, I am not spending hours in my shop.
Yeah. There are other ways to use your time that are going to benefit you. Obsessing over your stats isn't one of them. And I just saw Abby said, and I'm not ignoring any of you. I saw that I have a lot of other questions here, but Abby, I feel like it fits. I'm just over a month in. I've watched so many YouTube videos, taking classes, and I'm still not seeing sales. Well, it's the slowest season right now. And if you're only a month in, then, you're very new. It can take months to get your first sales, and you are in what we call the summer slump. It is the slowest season for Etsy. We tend to not see a lot of traffic until end of July, August, and then, September, it's October and November are the months when people are actually becoming holiday minded. So it's, without seeing your shop, we can't really advise you. But what I can say is that right now it's really hard to narrow down on what the issue could be, because sure, it could be a demand issue. Your products, there could be a genuine issue there, but the more likely case is that things are slow and everybody's experience. I have made, I think, 2 sales, 3 sales over the last month. And it's because there's no new the book niche. I'm in the bookish niche, and that's a fall, and winter activity. People are out now. My niche,
Yeah.
they're not reading as much.
Yeah, I was doing really well last month, and mine have just dried up as well. But I wanted to say as well, Amy asked, was it whoever it was asked, do you have any words? Abby, wasn't it? Do you have any words of wisdom? You're a month in, and you're saying you've watched so many videos and taken classes and things. My word of wisdom is, if the sun's out tomorrow, go to the beach, go to the woods, stop, just slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
In a month, you can't, you will just stress yourself out and confuse yourself, and I think you're saying there, overwhelm yourself as well. What I would do is focus on learning one little thing in a month. Learn one little thing: how to write good titles. Maybe watch one video a day and look and see how you're going to action that kind of thing. But don't be so many videos, so many classes. I'm exhausted just reading that. Like, just go to the beach or something. And to be perfectly honest, when I start to feel overwhelmed, I do a massive walk, and then my brain comes up with some ideas of things to make when I stop thinking about things to do.
Yeah. And to be perfectly honest, the thing is, Abby, a lot of YouTubers right now, they're selling a lifestyle that isn't true. And I think that most people in the chat can agree. These like hustle mamas and hustle bros who are talking about making like so many $1,000s a day. When it comes to Etsy and building a new business, a lot of these individuals, and I'm somebody who also sells a course, so I'm speaking both from that perspective as well. A lot of them have the sales that they have because they either started a long time ago and you're seeing, the result of years of hard work, and, trying to compare your start to their middle, or, they have big social media followings that are driving traffic. There are a lot of things that contribute to that. Don't allow yourself to fall into that unhealthy mindset of what they're teaching should be the expectation for everyone, because I guarantee even the most successful sellers that are in the chat right now will tell you that most of that stuff that they're saying is, pie in the sky type. It's just not realistic. And that's one of the benefits of listening to Pam and I, is that we have been in this industry for a very long time. I ran a 6-figure top 1% Etsy shop for 10 years. I ended up closing that shop, and now I'm starting over with a brand new shop and going through the growing pains. It's completely different. My first shop, it took me 5 years to turn that into a 6-figure shop, to the point where I was out earning my husband, who was in the military. Now I'm doing everything right. Got the social media marketing, just doing everything that I could possibly do. And it's slow because Etsy's changed a lot.
Yeah. The ratio of sellers to buyers is the worst it's been, well, at least in 10 years. The economy's difficult, everything's difficult just now. And that's another thing. If you're watching other influencers and things, a lot of people are talking about the massive sales they made in 2020 and 2021. That is really a little misleading because things are very different. I mean, coming up to the pandemic, I was throttling my shop because I'm never going to be a multi-million-dollar seller. I'm an artist. I'm slow. It's not going to happen. But I was getting more orders than I could cope with. I was throttling my shop. Now things aren't doing so well. But yeah, I could totally make the videos and say, here's what you do to get millions of pounds or whatever. But it's working just now, just not as quick. You're not going to get that. And I also did a breakdown of some of these people who started, because they're all doing print on demand, which I'm not against, but they're all doing print on demand. They talk about all the things, they show some of your numbers, but if you sit down, I calculated some of their numbers, they are not making any money. When they throw in all the adverts and the actual price for everything, they're going, here's how to make 10,000 sales, and they're hustling 24 hours a day, and they're making less than minimum wage. So
Yeah,
go down the river.
yeah,
Go
and
to the
I'm
beach.
print on demand too, and those margins are not great, but and
Mm-mm.
I'm licensed by authors to create their merchandise, so I got to pay a commission to them after every sale as well. So it's um just, yeah, Abby, if especially you said you're a new mom, relax over the summer, learn, don't stop learning. There's no reason to stop learning, but learn in small chunks by category. Start with SEO or product photography, or whatever it might be, and then move on to the next thing. Summer is the best time to learn because it's so slow. Then you can get your shop ready for when traffic tends to pick up in the fall, because November is when Etsy sees the most traffic. So work towards that November. And keep in mind, you might not even have a successful November, if you're new, and that's okay. You can accumulate so much knowledge in that amount of time to where maybe 2024 November isn't great, but 2025 November is, because you don't lose all that amazing knowledge that you get to apply to your business as you start, deep diving. And we've got videos here. Pam's got videos on her channel. I've got videos on my channel. Both of our channels are linked down below. Just don't stop learning. Just be careful who you learn from. There are a lot of people who are in this industry for the wrong reasons. And I think that we can all kind of agree, don't put names in the chat, but we can agree that YouTube's kind of weird right now when it comes to these coaches.
Yeah, I'm afraid you have to watch. I got the best compliment on Reddit ever. But someone said, Pam's my favorite because she's boring.
That's
And
the
that,
best though.
exactly. Unfortunately, there ain't nothing sexy in Etsy SEO. There's no, well, we have to make it sound a little drama so you click on our videos. But yeah, if it's all sounding drama, conspiracy, and everything else, go find somebody else. It's actually really boring. And to be honest, actually, if too many videos are making your head spin and everything, stop, read the ultimate guide to search from Etsy. That's where to start, and probably good enough. If you're just a month in, read that. Come to if you're not in the Facebook group, join the Facebook group, or come to these videos and ask us if you're stuck on anything in the ultimate guide to search. But at the end of the day, Etsy told us how to do everything. So
Yeah.
we're just interpreting it for you, basically.
Or the boring rule followers who tell you exactly what Etsy wants you to do, not the ones who come up with wackadoo theories. And we keep things by the book, because really it's the Etsy Bible, and it's accessible to everyone. It's just sometimes Etsy puts things into terms that are hard to understand, and what Pam and I do is we decipher it into plain stinking English so that you can actually understand what Etsy wants us to do, because Etsy isn't the best at telling us exactly what we should be doing. I mean, they
It might
do,
be
but
harder to understand. Yeah,
yeah.
it's all there, but I know. Look, for me, it's well written because I used to do thermodynamics, and if you've read any of the thermodynamics book, you're like, wow. So, Etsy explains things really well, but it probably needs a little bit decoding for everybody.
All right, guys. Sorry. Well, let's see. Where did we? Okay. Bev had asked, I've had interests on my listings by running ads. I've maxed on ads and now going organic. I'm nervous. What can I do to continue bringing in traffic without ads? Well, you'll probably see less. I mean, you paid for ads and now you're not. So all the traffic you saw from ads is probably going to go away. But even the top marketing experts say that in the summer, you should not put as much money into advertising. I just read a big one about like how all the major companies like McDonald's and Starbucks and all of them, they stopped pushing expensive advertising efforts in the summer because people are outside. They're not on their computers. I mean, they're scrolling social media, but they're not shopping as much because they're saving money for the holidays and enjoying the nice weather. So my big piece of advice is to continue generating your own momentum. I'm always a big fan of social media marketing, Instagram, TikTok. I'm having a lot of trouble on TikTok right now. I'm not seeing as much
Mine
growth.
died. I went from 500 views a video to 5 for no
Yeah.
reason. I have no idea what just happened there.
Yeah, TikTok's doing really bad for me, but people who already have audiences, I'm sure it's fine. But maybe it's not a good time to start a new TikTok. But Instagram is still pretty stinking easy, and the reach is still good. I just started an account for my mom's boyfriend dolls, which I know that Pam comments on them all the time, so I know you're seeing them. But my mom crochets life size, naked, perfect boyfriend dolls.
Life size, Jess.
Well, most of them are life size. There's some parts that might be exaggerated. But but yes, they have butts too. But I started a new Instagram for that just a couple weeks ago and have just been posting every day. I try to do a post every day and a reel every day, and it's doing really good. And yeah,
Of course it is. You've got a naked fuzzy man on it.
But even with such an odd item, it's doing really good. That account is a hoot, you guys. If good luck finding it, because I'm not gonna say it here, but it's funny. I love your mom's account, Starla. That's great. Instagram's about to crash. Did you see what they're doing? Feel free to let me know. Let's see. I didn't see what they're doing aside from their creators reel that got deleted, the one that said that you can't use like telling people to comment a word and hooking up like a mini chat, which I just actually paid for. So like if somebody comments the word coffee on any of my Friday Bean posts, it'll send them a message with the link to the Friday Bean in it, so that
cool.
I don't have to say link in bio anymore.
Excellent.
But originally Instagram said that was going to hurt your account, and then they like had to retract that statement because apparently it was completely untrue. Let's see. I'm loving the new Chat GPT. Was a bit worried yesterday when it suggested one of the so-called gurus that's renowned for ripping people off. Oh no.
I know who you mean. I'm not saying it out loud.
Everybody knows who you mean. Everybody knows, Amy. We won't say it, but we're with you. If you have a pattern,
problem. So I was going to say that's the problem with AI is it only goes by the average of what it sees, and if that guru and that guru's fan base have been saying online how fantastic that person is, then the chatbot might think, oh, that person's fantastic. That I don't think they're digging around in Reddit and seeing the worrying things.
Ah, I see the Instagram posts. Artists are leaving Insta in droves for volunteer-led platform. Insta isn't giving the US an option to opt out of AI training via their picks. Ooh, I'm going to have to look into that. Thank you for bringing that up. I will check it out. I'm still going to use it, though, because if they steal my mom's weird doll pictures, then I guess that's fine. Let's
Absolutely
see.
cool to teach the AI all about what a crochet Jason Momoa should look like. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Let's see. If you have a pattern by Etsy store, so like a pattern site, you can list services and the sales count towards your sales figures, but you need to do the maths as to whether the subscription cost is worth it to you. I thought that it just pulled your listings directly from your Etsy shop. I thought that you still had to do all the follow all the normal Etsy rules for pattern.
Um,
I haven't
I
looked into
haven't
pattern.
looked. Yeah, same. I've not looked into it for ages. I don't know if he's on, but I know Brian knows more about Pattern because he
Yeah.
was definitely running it. I'm not sure if you can have your own standalone listings, which would make sense. So if that's the
Yeah.
case, then yes. But yes, they count towards your sales figures, but I don't know how much it really helps your shop because that's not organic. It's not necessarily organic sales. So I don't know if I would recommend using Pattern for your website just because that's putting all your eggs in one basket. But
Still
having your own exactly having your own website where you could direct people to sell your services is not a bad idea at all.
yeah. Linda, as a new seller, do you recommend trying out different products and niches that you like and seeing what sticks, or should you niche down right from the beginning? I don't think that there's anything wrong with trying more than one. It might be off-putting to customers if the niches are too different. Like, you know, if you're selling things that have like naughty words on them, but then you're selling things for babies, might be weird. So I would just make sure that the niches don't fight against each other. Um, I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with it.
Yeah, as a new seller, you can't break your shop unless you're being horrible and scamming your customers. But if you're sitting here watching this, I doubt you're that kind of person. So I don't think you can break your shop. And many new shops, if like most of us come in not really knowing what we're doing, you're not likely to get tons of sales to start with. So you're not breaking anything. So yeah, I think many artistic, crafty people have loads of things they do. So yeah, go and put up a lot of your things and see what works. You'll find if your shop gets successful, you'll accidentally niche down anyway because you'll be selling and relisting the things that are working.
Yeah. Created by EJF. Do you consider creating products working in the shop though? No, that's a little different. I think that creating your product, that you are enhancing your skill. You are, getting better at creating things. You're creating stock. Hopefully you're enjoying making your product. Um, I I think it just really depends on your relationship with creating your product. When we say go take a walk outside, that's because we want to make sure that you're also taking care of your mental health and you're not spending 20 hours just sitting in front of a computer screen. But if you are enjoying, maybe you're sitting, in at your desk and you've got a nice podcast or an audiobook playing, or you've got your favorite TV show in the background and you enjoy doing that and it's relaxing you, then that's completely fine because it's almost like that's work that's play, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't really differentiate. Like I obviously have to put in timesheets for if I'm working for different companies and things, but in my head, everything is work. You know, apart from when I go out and do my thing, because that is, like Starla says, if I can say, oh, I've done 8, 9, 10 hours today, that is too much work. I need to take a break and do something different tomorrow. So I don't bother defining and saying, oh, I did this much in my shop and this much actually needle felt in little things and this much talking to potential customers on Facebook or something. It's all working.
Yeah. Rebecca, there are a lot of things to do to keep traffic flowing to a shop because of the algorithms. What would you say is the priority? Refresh photos, tags? Well, the photos, as of right now, they don't seem to have a big algorithmic impact. However, priority, I always say photos are the most important thing when it comes to attracting customers, because if your SEO is fantastic and you're ranking on page 1, but your photos are bad, then people aren't going to click them anyway. So it doesn't even matter if your SEO is good. So photos are always the priority. It's not so much an algorithmic benefit, it's the human benefit there, because customers are going to click on the better photo.
Yeah. Do you know, at this time of the year, I'd say the priority, do what you can to build your any kind of social media, do what you can to build outside things and figure out new things you can make. I wouldn't spend ages trying to improve things. I mean, absolutely, got time, learn to take better pictures. Pictures are always great. But just now, I wouldn't be tweaking my listings and things, changing the tags and stuff, because there's every chance that everything's okay. There's just not enough people there just now. So, more importantly, bringing the people in if you can, or looking after yourself, basically.
Yeah. Abby had asked, should we move to other places like Shopify, etc. as well? Diversifying is always an option, especially if you've got a lot of time on your hands. It's always good to make sure that you don't have all your eggs in one basket, because if something were to happen to your Etsy shop, or, if you were to be suspended, or if for some reason, Etsy's experiencing a slow season, like right now, there's always other platforms that you can diversify on. Now, I will say that summer, it's not just an Etsy thing that sales are slow. That is a worldwide e-commerce thing. And obviously, don't get political in the chat. Poor Pam's UK heart can't take it. But we do have a US election coming up in November, and around elections, spending online, or not just online, it's actually spending everywhere. And this is a worldwide impact that US elections have. Spending gets a little bit wonky because especially, because it's going to be right before the holiday season. Some people are going to hold on to their money and they're going to wait until right before Christmas to buy. Some people are going to buy early because they're going to be nervous and they're going to want to get all that spending out of the way right away. So even this year, it's going to be weird altogether. I just made a post in my student campus because Joann's craft store, they're launching their Halloween stuff right now. That's a good indication that we need to start planning earlier than ever, because I think that major retailers are expecting things to be weird with US elections this year. And I think that they're going to launch things a lot earlier than normal, which is a good sign that you guys should get your fall and Halloween stuff out as soon as possible. I know that sounds awful, but it's time.
I have no problem with doing Halloween in the summer. I will say, diversifying, you've got to ask why you're doing Etsy as well. If you really, really need the money, I would also be, like Starla said, it's not just Etsy that's low. So diversifying could mean doing something else as well, especially if your shop's really new. Myself and Starla, we talk about selling on Etsy and everything. Our entire income does not come from selling on Etsy because we've diversified and we make livings other ways. I started selling on Etsy as a way from diversifying because I was a driving instructor and people don't take lessons in the run up to Christmas because they're drunk. So, but people do buy. I'm in Scotland, come on. People do buy gifts in the run up to Christmas. So I had some things that did well in the summer and some things that did well in winter. So you can always diversify with something else.
Yeah.
I think there's a great sort of stigma that you have to be an Etsy seller and an Etsy seller only. But we have to make a living. Do it however makes you feel happy.
Exactly. Let's see. We got about 5 minutes. I'll try to power through the last ones. I know we have quite a few here. Kelly asked, most of my artwork is listed on Etsy as a single piece, single listing. So the sold work is not relisted. Does Etsy or eRank searches hold that again? Well, eRank isn't holding anything against you. We're just a research tool. Let's see. Does Etsy hold it against you? It's not that Etsy's holding it against you. It's that products or listings that sell over and over again are able to accumulate good history. Etsy's able to say, oh, this product, people really like it. They keep buying it. We should show it to more people. Now, one of a kind artists are able to build up their overall reputation. That's your customer and marketplace experience score. And that can help your shop. My biggest advice for actual artists, traditional artists, is to double up, have those high priced, hand painted, beautiful pieces that you're charging a lot for, and then have printed versions. Maybe there are canvases that you sell, that you can reproduce at a lower cost, but that will have a higher chance of ranking in search. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm shopping on Etsy, if I find an item I want to buy, I never just stick it in my cart and check out. I always go to the shop and see if they got anything else I want to buy. Because if I'm going to get one thing, I might as well get something else.
I will say as well, this webcast that we talked about at the start, the Bernstein strategic decisionsy thing, Josh did mention they are changing Etsy search to an extent. Customers want to know how handmade an item is. What he said is, you don't go into a shop and see aisles packed with handmade and antique and all sorts of different things. Everything is categorized together. So they're talking about changing search to kind of do that, to be able to show people, oh, you're looking for a piece of artwork. Do you want the print on demand stuff, or do you want the handmade stuff, or do you want this? And he suggested these changes are coming soon, like this year soon. So we don't know much about it, but hang tight. Etsy are, I don't know how good it's going to be, but Etsy are aware of this thing and are working on it because customers want to buy stuff from artists. They also want to buy the AI stuff. They want to buy the print on demand stuff, but they want to be able to find the right things.
Okay. OM88M01. How to use Facebook to generate an organic traffic. Facebook is the worst for getting organic traffic because there's not a lot of searchability there. Unless a page has already got a lot of traction, those posts aren't going to show up organically in other people's news feeds. Facebook is my least favorite. I recommend that everybody have one and that you claim your business name on there, just because it's going to rank high in Google, and it's better that you have it than someone else come along and try to take that account name out from under you. But Facebook's my least favorite. Instagram is the easiest, in my opinion, for actually generating a following, as well as Pinterest. I'm not a Pinterest expert, but Instagram I'm pretty decent at. Instagram to me is the easiest one to really get started on.
I'll say posting on groups can work on Facebook, but probably not the way you're thinking. I'm making assumptions here, but many people think they're marketing when they join hundreds of groups and spam their items on them. Exactly. But if our Whippet person went on to dog forums and Whippet specific groups and things because that's what she loved, and she sat and made friends and enjoyed talking about Whippets on Whippet groups, and every so often when someone asked, hey, I'm looking to buy a Whippet related thing, said, oh, I've got a Whippet related thing, she would sell great. Exactly. So yes, being in the niche and getting to make friends, like genuine connections with genuine lovers of your niche, great. Joining hundreds of groups, spamming your links, it won't get any reach and you'll get banned from so many groups.
Yeah, and even Facebook could even ban you if you're posting the same thing over and over again. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Evers Art Shop. Starla, are you going to start making Go Imagine videos? I just posted my bestseller on there and I have so many questions. I'm not the person to answer it because I barely know anything about it, which is why tomorrow over on my YouTube channel, we are going to have John, the CEO of Go Imagine, on for a live Q&A where everyone can join because I'm going to be learning with you. I don't want to start making Go Imagine videos aside from the one that, I just made about general awareness that it exists, but tutorials, I don't want to make until I open my own Go Imagine shop. And my Handmade Alpha Academy, my Etsy course is opening next week. I got to get through the launch period of that because it's only open from the 14th through the 24th. And then after that, I'll have a little bit more time to invest. And I think that what I'm going to do is I want to hand draw coloring pages. So I want to have a digital shop on Go Imagine. But until I have the time to actually sit and set that up, I don't want to make videos and teach you guys how to do something that I've never done. That would make me a big imposter. You know what I mean? I that's one of the things I value about myself and that I hope that you guys value about me is I don't create content about things that I don't personally know about. So
Yeah. Excited to hear about all of this, though.
yeah, it's looking very promising. I'm very excited for it. I just hope that they start branching out. Bev, I had a template design doing very well. I changed the description and somehow purchases stopped entirely. Have I messed up my listing quality score / algorithm? I haven't had any reviews. I'm going to guess that this was probably a bit of a coincidence that it just lined up perfectly with, when the kids are out of school, which my daughter was just let out of school, when summer hits, things slow down.
Yeah. Correlation doesn't always equal causation. I'm seeing this a lot everywhere. People are saying, and I totally understand. We want to learn what it is that we done that made things good or bad, and most of the time, it's not us. It's not Etsy. Etsy didn't change anything either. It's just the world. Starla's just said this month's been bad for her. This month's been bad for me. We haven't all changed a thing all at the same time to cause it to go bad. It's just what it is.
Yeah, it's been real slow for
Tough
us.
time.
My
Yeah.
bestseller is the only thing that's selling right now. And we're selling like one every 2-ish weeks. It's a big tapestry. It's been doing good, but it always does good. But nothing else is really doing great right now. And none of the authors that I work with have had any new releases. So that's impacting us right now because people are off the hype train for the new book releases.
Sometimes it's just tough.
Exactly. Well, let's see, we've got one more. Pipero. Probably. I was gonna do the acronym and I realized no, the acronym's PP. Don't do that. That's not a good name either. Okay. You just ignore us. We're tired. If I update my photos or video, is there any chance of hurting my listing with the algorithm? No, because the algorithm really doesn't care. But if you update your photos and the customers don't like them as much as your previous photos, that could have an impact. Sometimes you take a photo that you think is better and your customers teach you that they like the old photo better. So just keep an eye on your stats. And if you realize that the old photos did better, then it's easy enough to go in and do a quick switcheroo. But algorithm doesn't care. Not as of right now, they don't.
Yeah, it's an indirect effect over time because how people react to your listing, how much they click on it, buy it, all the rest of it, that does feed back into the algorithm kind of. But it's not a case like just changing your photo, the algorithm goes, oh no, we're not going to show that person's products anymore. That it doesn't know what you've done with the picture until it gets feedback from customers.
All right. And then, Linda had said, how often do you do these lives? This is my first one and honestly love the conversation. Awesome, Linda. We're here mostly every Thursday. Sometimes we aren't, but every Thursday, same time, same place. And then I also stream on my channel every Friday at noon Eastern. Tomorrow we have Go Imagine's CEO, but normally we talk about Etsy related topics there. I'm Starla Moore and my channel's linked down below. And then Pam, you occasionally go live, but you don't have a live schedule right now, do you?
No, I am thinking about doing it again. I've just been so busy. But yes, like Starla, I drop loads of videos about selling on Etsy. I think the next few ones I'm going to be going through this webcast thing because there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Ooh, spicy.
So so both our channels are down below. And guys, if you haven't also subscribed to this YouTube channel, because myself, Starla, Jessica, and I think some others have been posting videos on here. So there's tons, plenty to watch. Don't need to
Um,
go anywhere else.
only us. We have a monopoly.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like some kind of creepy cult at all.
Only us. Only the
Yeah,
eRank.
put those big scary eyes away, Starla.
Guys, thanks so much for hanging out. We appreciate you. I will be here this upcoming Thursday. Pam, you'll be here this Thursday, but the Thursday after I will not because we have critique week. So
Oh yeah.
that's gonna be fun.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much, and yeah, we'll see you next week anyway.